love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustle, you broke, well that seems
What
tragic.
is going on, NFL fans? What is going on, sports fans in general? This is the best month for sports. We got baseball playoffs, we got hockey popping, we got the NBA back, we got NFL games, and I'm gonna tell y'all what, I'm excited to be back on the chopper with my boys. I got my man Girls for the Girls and the OG Triple OG Antoine Staley. What is going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Hey, it's Saturday. It's Saturday. It's time for the chopper. I'm ready for it, boy.
Let's go. So, listen, let's get right into it. The Bills, we got a bye week, so it ain't much to talk about on that front. So we're gonna let the Bills rest, and we're gonna let them relax this week. Twine, you are with the Jets.
Yes.
And y'all have a
Denver.
big game this weekend.
Well, they have a big game this weekend. Like I do not, but yeah, they do.
You know what? I'll do better going forward because I've been joking with you, and I understand that's not your voice.
Yeah, you're like I'm on the team. Like
I just gotta. You know, first of all, I'm gonna tell you what they're picking it up. Like they're 4-2.
Who tried to tell you this? Like me.
This is why I think they're your team. This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying you.
Because I know you honest criticism, like analysis.
Well, I mean, okay, let's relax. Let's relax.
I'm just saying.
Last week, I said they were going to beat the Packers too, so it wasn't that. The only one that you got me on was the Miami game, but that was, I mean, when you're playing with your third string quarterback, you know.
Well, they started with the second though, but they knocked them out.
Right, and the game was a lot closer when the second one was in there.
Well, I mean, it's the first. They knocked them out the first play of the game, so yeah,
exactly.
It was like 0-0.
That's my point. But no, realistically though, I think they're better than what people gave them credit for. But I don't think that they're. You know, I texted you earlier and I was like, yeah, they feeling themselves. Let's talk about it. I just don't think that they're 4-2. You know, but they're 4-2, so you got to give them their credit. They beat Green Bay. Nobody thought they would beat Green Bay except for us. It seems like. Yeah. Let's talk about this Denver game. I know Steros is excited about it too. He's in Denver, so you know, maybe y'all can link this weekend. I don't know, but yeah, Denver. What is going on in Denver?
They're trash. I don't even know how to put it nicely, man. They can't get it together here. They got like 5 ACL injuries. There's no congruency on the offense. Russell Wilson's, it feels like he's over his head. Hackett as a play caller. They don't throw it to Cortland Sutton enough. I mean, it's people in Denver, the fans are not liking Russell Wilson. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And then you have all this stuff coming out about him this week about his leadership style. I guess giving you a glimpse into more of what people more into his career than we've ever seen, really, when it comes to Russell Wilson. It's just not. It stinks. If it smells funky, it is, and it smells funky in Denver.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Antoine, before we talk about the Jets side of things, what do you think about all of these reports now about Russell Wilson? Because I feel like he's been corny the whole time, and I was one of the guys that defended him. I'm like, y'all really going to hate on Russell Wilson? This man is a winner. He's being it. And now I get it. Like, people are so mad, and he's not winning. So, you know, what's your look on this whole, just everything when it comes to him?
Well, anytime you go to a new city, I mean, it's like you're starting over again. So it's even though he's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, he has all these accolades, Pro Bowler, all this stuff. He's starting over again in Denver. Like what he did in Seattle doesn't necessarily matter anymore. Like it's now you're starting over fresh, and the Broncos have been so thirsty for a winner since Peyton Manning and that team won the Super Bowl in 2015 that, you know, they expected, a lot of people expect this team to make the playoffs. I mean, they expect this team to contend in the AFC West along with the Chargers and also the Chiefs, but that hasn't been the case. Nathaniel Hackett, you know, his time management skills have been questionable to say the least, among with other things there. Russell Wilson's not playing well. He's hurt. You know, he's suffering, like he's trying to battle through that. And then now you end up having to deal with Javonte Williams now suffering a season-ending injury. You're dealing with that. And then their offensive line is not very good. They're giving up 20 sacks already in 6 games. So that's like a disaster, you know, waiting to happen, especially when you got a guy that's not playing the quarterback position. Their defense is playing really well. So that's their calling card. And, if they're going to beat the Jets and whoever else the rest of the season, they're going to have to rely on that because they don't have the running game like they thought they would, even though they still have Melvin Gordon and Russell Wilson's not playing in particularly well. But yeah, I mean, they look worse than what they did last year under Vic Fangio. And that's really saying something. That was without a quarterback, to be honest with you.
Man, you said but you mentioned Melvin Gordon. He was benched last week. Like, I think he
started. He started this week too. Yeah, apparently he started. Yeah, but yeah,
what the heck is going on with that?
Latavius Murray, who they ended up picking up, ended up coming in for him and played really well.
He did.
So, but I don't know what the deal is. I know fumbling has been a problem for Melvin Gordon. So anytime you give away the football like that, and that compounds with the other problems that they have, you got to sit on the bench too. So giving away the ball has been a big thing for him. So I imagine that's kind of what the benching led up to.
Sterles, out there in Denver, that's your neighborhood, your neck of the woods. What are you hearing about Boone? I was looking forward to kind of seeing him last week when Gordon got benched, but it's like they use him in a very limited capacity. I thought he would have gotten more touches, but like Antoine said, Murray kind of took the lion's share of the work. What do you think is going to like with that run game? I know Gordon is supposed to start again tomorrow, but how do you see that kind of playing out?
I think they need to figure out from an offensive line standpoint what their identity is. I know they're, struggling with injuries, but just from, when I watch them, it's just, man, they're losing 1v1. Schematically, are they pin and pull? Are they zone? They want to be zone, but it's like it's not working. Kind of on the same things that we see with the Bills right now. So, I have to stop myself from being a prisoner of the moment and just go, okay, it's 6 games. Like, is this something that they can improve on, moving forward? Yeah, I think it's something they can improve on. I just feel like it starts with Russell Wilson and this play calling. And right now, man, I don't see any chemistry there. It's bad. He starts off 10 for 10 this past week, right? And then the second half of the game, it's like
disappears.
He disappears. I mean, that's just, I've never seen Russ like this ever. So I don't know what it is, man, but it needs to fix.
Antoine, let's ride. Let's ride. So let's ride. Let's talk about your Jets. Your Jets. I know we just talked about that.
Can you just be a Jets fan for the rest of the season while you're on the show?
No.
Real talk, he is. He's the Jets guy.
No, I'm not. Like people keep saying that. Like somebody said that on Twitter. Like a Dolphins fan said that. I'm like, when the Jets start paying my paychecks, then that's when I'll be a Jets fan or be part of the Jets. Until that point, then no, I'm not.
Nah, man, I ain't hearing it. You a Jets fan. You be in the stands screaming at Jets. You be in the press box. He's like, no, man, I ain't even gonna laugh at that.
You couldn't even cheer in the press box.
I get it because it's a professional environment, but
yes, that's
why I couldn't work for the Bills. Like that's really what it comes down to for me. Like there's no way I could really work for the Bills and be in the press box and not cheer when a big moment happens. Really, could you imagine me and KC last week in the press box and then that interception from Taron Johnson and you think I'm gonna be quiet? Damn, man.
Well, you can do it inside. You can do it inside. No.
I get this whole thing out. Y'all gonna get all of this, every bit of it. But let's talk about the Jets, though, man. So we got a wide receiver asking for a trade who won't get traded, but the defense is playing well. Like, dude, y'all got defensive player of the weeks every week. Y'all got rookie of the week every week. Like, what is going on over there with this Jets team? Are they better than what? Are they the second best team in the AFC East?
It's easy. Well, we're about to find out in the next couple of weeks. I mean, they got to play Patriots next week, and then they play Buffalo before their bye week. So we're going to find out a lot about them. I think so, at least at the moment, although the Dolphins have suffered a ton of injuries. So it's kind of hard to kind of gauge where they are. But, this is a big game. I mean, I wrote it this week in my article that, you go 5-2, your chances to making the playoffs are more than 60%. As opposed to 4-3, where it's 47, 48% of the time you go to the playoffs, it could be, it's a bit of a toss up. So especially looking at the Jets schedule, the rest of the way, I mean, you got 2 games against Buffalo, and then you got a game against Minnesota. That's it. Everybody else is either 500 or below the rest right now, currently in the NFL that you have to play. So This is a critical game that people keep saying, they wait for the Jets to fall back down to earth. This is a game they have to win if you're gonna, contend and end up getting to the playoffs. And they've been great on the road this year. They're undefeated. So, we'll see if that continues there. But, I think they're a much better team than a lot of people think or give them credit for. We'll see how they deal with some adversity this week, especially, with Elijah Moore, trade requests, and now they're gonna, have him sit home, for the weekend and not play.
Well, all they got to do is score 13 points and they'll win the game.
I mean, hey, they can definitely do that, especially with their running game. Like, long as the big thing is like Zach Wilson continue to take care of the football. That's really the main thing. Like the last couple of weeks, he hasn't turned the ball over. I know he hasn't necessarily played well, but he hasn't also put them in bad positions either.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess to me it comes down. It comes down to quarterback play at the end of the road. Like, so I like what I've been seeing from Zach, but at the same time, it's not jumping off the screen. Like the Green Bay game, it was special teams and defense that really, to me, that really did it. My only issue with that is, you look
at the run game too. The run game,
the run game. Breece Hall. Oh my God, man, Breece Hall is that dude is a monster. But like when you look at it, it's like it's the same way I felt about the Bengals in the playoffs. It's like, okay, they're winning, but is that really a sustainable way to win and really, like go through the rest of the season and try to stack games? I just don't think. You mentioned Buffalo. You mentioned the Vikings. Buffalo ain't making those type of mistakes that Green Bay made. The Vikings, I don't think, are making the mistakes that Green Bay made. So it's like, do you realistically see the Jets kind of sustaining this type of run? And I get it, every week they won't win, but do you see them still maintaining a good record, to finish out the year? The way they're winning, I don't see it. And that's not hate.
Look at the 49ers. I mean, where Robert Saleh came from, it's the same kind of formula. I mean, you got a quarterback that's, not great. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo can make plays, but they run the ball well. They play great defense, and then they also make plays on special teams. That's kind of the same thing. Look at the Jets team. They go further than that, but, when Rex Ryan was there, it was the same thing, too. You had a quarterback with Mark Sanchez that, was really young, still trying to find his way. They ran the ball well. They played great defense. So, that's the kind of formula. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to beat the Bills or anything like that, but if they win this game, I think they're going to get into the play. They can win 10 games and get into the playoffs. I truly believe that. I'm
sorry, real quick. You just reminded me when you said beat the Bills, you flipped your pick last week and was wrong again after you flipped it. I just want to bring that up.
We're not on that right now.
But you said it, and I had a flashback. When you said beat the Bills, I was like, oh, that's what happened.
But we're talking about the Jets right now. So you asked me a question about the Jets. So that's what we're doing.
It came back to me in that flashback, Strohs. I had to get him on that one.
Well, hey, I got a couple questions for him. I mean, one, have you seen Zach Wilson's mom around? Or you give him a number?
I have not. No.
Okay, no. And then talk to me about that wide receiver, man. Like you got two wide receivers over there. You got Denzel Mims, right? And then you got Elijah Moore. Like, what are you hearing inside the locker room? Is it affecting the team, or is it just he's kind of on his own? And then I saw Robert Saleh say they're kind of he's working with him to get his mental right. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, basically what he said that he asked is a punishment this weekend. And then he said, no, like he doesn't think mentally he's prepared to play for a game. So, I mean, it's in a way it is punishment. I mean, the worst thing for a player is not to play, to sit there and have your teammates, especially when you're traveling, to have to sit there and watch him on TV. So it's like he's injured. That's the way they're making it seem, like he'll be on the injury report, not injury related, and he won't play. So he's inactive. So as far as Elijah Moore is, like he got into a bit, disagreement with the offensive coordinator about his role, and they didn't really like what he had to say, so they sent him home for the day. And then they told us it was family issues there. So, and then after that, a few hours later, that's when the trade request came down. I actually texted his agent. I never heard anything back, which I'm not surprised by, but it is what I did my due diligence there. But more like Denzel Mims, who will be active, who also had a trade request earlier this year. They say he's been a model citizen since then. He's been, the scouts team. prep work and things of that nature too, and doing what he's supposed to do. So he'll finally get his opportunity, to try to see what he can do. He said he's been a better player. He said he's improved, and he has a chance to showcase what he can do on Sunday, for Elijah Moore.
I think they're going to take the L this weekend. I picked them to beat Green Bay last week. I don't think Denver figured it out quite yet, but I do think that just the talent that they have on that, like Sutton and Judy, like when Russ actually gets some type of chemistry and he figures that thing out, I think they're going to be like, that whole thing is going to just be insane to watch. Stills, what do you think? Because again, you're out there. What do you think about that offense? Because what I'm seeing is wide open receivers. They're getting separation. I'm seeing holes where the run game can be successful depending on obviously Murray did it last week. So depending on who they feature that week, can run the ball. And if Russ can look anything like, I don't even want to say early last season or the season before, but if he can look anything like a starting quarterback, I feel like Denver can I don't know. I just feel like they can still turn it around. Like, how are you, and what's the vibe out there when it comes to that?
Yeah, I think anytime you boast a defense like they do, I think there's reason for hope, right? I don't like the fit. What they do, I would love to see them operate in more 10 personnel packages, kind of get their playmakers on the field. I think Jerry Jeudy is one of the top 10 route runners in the league. I just don't think he's utilized right. I mean, Cortland Sutton is a dog, it's like the personnel that they have in the offense that they're trying to put out there. It just doesn't seem to mesh, man. So I think it's one of those things where you listen to Denver radio, you just talk to the fans. Nobody seems to everybody's like, what in the hell is going on in Denver? And then on top of that, you see every 2 seconds, Russell Wilson talking about let's ride and posting these Bible, these Bible verses talking about in the storm and all. It's like, can you just read the room, my dude? Because it's just getting real bad, man. He is not helping himself right now. And I love Jesus, but I'm just saying, bro, like, can you just stick to football, man? Stick to football.
Everybody love Jesus, but listen, we be calling Jesus at the wrong time. Like, Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this, bro. You getting dragged because you deserve to get dragged. It ain't got nothing. Jesus ain't got nothing to do with it. Well, let's move on. Though I know because this weekend I feel like there's not a ton of great games. Like, it's not one of those things like I don't know, like, how every week there seems to be a game where it's like, oh, boom. I think the only one we can look forward to is Kansas City and San Francisco, at least me. Let's talk about this McCaffrey trade. Like, what the hell is happening in the NFL, man? Like, what? Like, I know Strohs is chomping at the bit for this one, but Antoine, when you first got the notification or when you first heard about the trade, like, what went through your mind? I was at the game.
Well, I knew the Panthers were going to start trading players. I mean, they're in a bad way, and they need to really tear it down at this point. And they get rid of some of those contracts. And McCaffrey, obviously is among them. So I wasn't necessarily surprised that he was traded. It's just a matter of when I heard it, like right, pretty much, at night, like during the latter stages of the game, and then the 49ers, which I was like, wow, that's a big trade for him. Like, that's huge. I mean, you get him and Deebo Samuel together. Like, just imagine what they could do. Especially, you can line them both up with receivers. You can have McCaffrey, there in the backfield. You can have Deebo in the backfield and have McCaffrey out of a receiver. Like, it's Kyle Shanahan's just gonna have just work his magic, like just evil genius. Like, I can, for me, I thought the 49ers might, mess around and get to the Super Bowl. Like, I really do, because look who in the NFC, I'm not necessarily sold on the Eagles yet. I mean, they beat Dallas, but I still need to see more of the Cowboys. We'll see how they play when Dak comes back. Minnesota, I'm not necessarily surprised. I know we talked about them playing the Jets later on this season. We know how they can be so up and down, even though they are starting out to play well. And then the Packers, they're struggling. So I think 49ers have a realistic shot, especially, in that division. I think they're the best team right now. They end up taking it, at least getting to the Super Bowl. Not necessarily winning it, but at least get to the Super Bowl in February.
You think McCaffrey plays this weekend? I haven't seen anything on that.
I don't know. Like, that's a good question. I mean, he's been practicing with the Panthers, so I mean, you had Robbie Anderson play last night, and we saw how disgruntled he was with Carolina last week. So it wouldn't be out the realm of possibility that McCaffrey plays Sunday.
Yeah, they said that they're going to have him in some goal line packages, red zone packages that they're going to see him out. I don't know. I don't think he's going to get a lot of target share in terms of running the ball in the backfield, but they're definitely going to throw him out there, even as a decoy. I mean, you could just have him run out there. I think it'll be dope, man. I can't wait to see the packages. You talk about the jet motion, right, with McCaffrey. Oh my God, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and then Kittle. Man. Like, how are you?
Automatically. Well, I'm sorry to cut you off. It automatically to me makes them a top contender in the NFC. And the thing that is confusing to me, and this is why I asked I wanted to swing it back to you the same way. Like, I was at the game when it happened, and I didn't even have like the 49ers on my radar for this trade because I felt like they have a great, maybe not Christian McCaffrey great, but they had a great running back on injured reserve that's coming back in a couple of weeks. They have a running back who filled in very nicely, in the time. So like to finish your thought, but also like how did this even how does this even make sense? Like, obviously it makes sense with Shanahan's mind and his offense, but it's like I just didn't even see this coming, dude. Like this one really got me.
Yeah, I think they've always believed in a multiple running back approach, 2-3 running backs. The thing about the McCaffrey thing is that he's, Deebo Samuel light, if you will. I mean, if that's even I just feel like I'm disrespecting him. But now you have two Deebos, and what are you going to do with them? Like you can't cover that. There's no way you're going to be able to cover that with George Kittle. Like, so, and the thing is though, the coolest thing about this trade to me is that San Francisco has so much capital before the trade with all these 3rd round picks, right? For Robert Saleh and then Mike McDaniel. So they really, I mean, to us, it looks like, yeah, they gave up a ton, but they still got a lot of ammunition to play with. So I think it's a win for both sides.
But they gave up a second, third, fourth. But they gave up a ton of first rounders for Trey Lance too. So it's like you really just traded away for 2 guys. You traded away, and I don't think Trey Lance is. I know everybody likes to say, "Oh, he has the same intangibles as Josh. He's the next. He's going to do a Josh Allen leap." I hear that, and I get sick of it. But I think they gave up a lot for Trey Lance, and now you give up a lot for this guy who might be a rental.
Yeah, I mean, they're following the Rams formula. The Rams don't necessarily care about draft picks, so I guess they're like, okay, we're going to do something similar, and they're trying to go for it now. They see that window where they're like, yeah, we need to try to get to the Super Bowl and try to win it once again. So, forget them draft picks. We're going to try to go for it, especially in the wide open NFC. It's not like the AFC where you have the Chiefs and the Bills and everybody else is kind of, goes by the wayside after that. It's so wide open in NFC. I mean, why can't they get it done? At least come out of there, and then you get a 1-game elimination deal. I mean, they could beat the Bills or the Chiefs. I'm not saying they will, but I mean, in one game scenario, I mean, who knows?
Man, I don't like what you're saying down there. They ain't beating no Bills.
I'm just saying, like, anything can happen in a.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Now with Garoppolo back there, they ain't beating no Bills.
I don't think so either. But again, it wouldn't totally shock.
Yeah. No, they now they have the firepower to go, toe to toe with the juggernauts.
Correct.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I disagree with that. It's like Jimmy Garoppolo is still the quarterback out there. So, like, as much as we could sit there and say, they have the fire, but they have the weapons. But, if it ain't coming out on short passes or out the backfield, I'm not worried about like Sterling. I'm with you. Let's relax when we're talking about any given Sunday with the Bills. The Bills ain't. Come on, dog. Let's not. Let's come on, dog.
Come on, like, just stop. Like, come on.
I'm not even. I'm being real. You really think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go up against the Buffalo Bills defense in that front four?
Do I think they can beat them? No, I don't. But do I think? I mean, is it out? Out of the realm of possibility? No. I mean, I think they can beat. I think they can beat them one game. I think they can beat them. Hell, I seen Jacksonville beat the Bills last year. So don't tell me like
Bills team. First of all,
no.
It is a different Bills team.
Oh, it is, but it's still like anything can happen on the NFL. Like 1-game scenarios, anything can happen. Anything. I didn't see the Bengals going all the way to the Super Bowl last year, but it happened.
Yeah. I mean, if the Bills and the 49ers play 10 times, the Bills will win 8 or 9 of those 10. Times.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. 9 out of 10 times they will win. All it takes is one time.
They'll smack that ass 10 out of 10 times, bro. I'm done with y'all on this trying to be politically correct and say nice things for people. Real talk, the Bills is smacking them boys. Come on, man. The only team I respect right now is Kansas City. You play that game 10 times and it might be 5-5.
So you think the Bills are winning every single game the rest of the way then?
No, because I think we're going to be resting people at certain times. No, at the end of the season.
On paper, they should.
Yeah, no, on paper, they're going to come on, dog.
But they're going to lose. They're going to lose 2 games to somebody, the teams that it's going to be an off day.
They will lose a game they shouldn't lose.
You know what? Like, no, you know what? I might even take that back because we've benched people before and still blown teams out. Miami, trash ass Miami. So I'm still on that. No. Matter of fact, I'm not saying we're going to win every single game, but I'm telling you, like, dog, come on, man. Y'all playing too much. See, this is the Jets fan of you, Twan. This is the Jets fan.
I'm being realistic. I'm not a homer. Like, I'm not like I'm trying to like y'all will lose a game. You're not supposed. If they go 15-2 and win the Super Bowl, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I'll take that all day.
The Vikings. I feel like the Vikings could be a game that we could lose. When you have Aaron Rodgers, I get it. They're playing bad. They just lost to the Jets, but still, it's Aaron Rodgers. So I think those are 2 games potentially we could lose. But when you're talking about like the rest of the man, we're gonna smack all of them boys. And then you talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, like I almost said Calvin Benjamin the same way. Like you talking about Baker Mayfield of the NFC. What are we doing? Well, Baker is in the NFC. What are we doing, man?
No.
Come on, Jimmy's buns, man. There's a reason why they was so ready to move on from him for Trey Lance, and they made that boy take. Trey got injured,
but he was still better anyway. Like he should have been started anyway.
Man, I feel you. Because Trey ain't there yet, but there's a reason why they was ready to move on from him.
No, I agree with that.
Ain't no way you gonna have me on here lying talking about this. Nah, man, F them boys. They ain't touching. Nah, man, nah. See, he's a Jets fan. It's settled.
No, I'm sorry, I'm being realistic. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, man.
You talking about any given Sunday? Like we're gonna lose on Thanksgiving.
Somebody has to be politically around here.
Because I ain't.
Sterling damn sure. Hey, he damn sure. Let's move on to another game that I think is going to be fun. I think the Giants and the Jaguars game is going to be a pretty fun game to watch. The Jaguars, they ended up hitting the bump in the road, and they don't look like the team that they first came out in the season as. But I still think they have some things, like they still look good. The Giants, what is happening, man? Brian Daboll, what are they, 5-1? They're energized, and he has that offense looking like, with Saquon, we can do all things. Like, it almost sounds like a Russell Wilson quote, but it's like they're excited and they're playing motivated. Sterling, let's start with you. How do you feel about this game? What do you think we can look forward to, and who do you think comes out on top?
Like we talked about the Jets game, I think this is a big one for the Giants. Just to kind of prove that they can continue to be consistent and win games. I think on the latter side, I think Jacksonville is trying to find their way, trying to find their rhythm. You're seeing. I don't know if you guys checked out Trevor Lawrence's stat line, but it was like 20 or 25 for. I mean, he didn't have. I mean, it was just not for little yards. I mean, it was just like you look at that and you go like, what in the hell is going on here? I haven't watched the film on that one yet, but I want the Jaguars to be good. Like, I feel like, man, like they've been so bad for so long. It feels like outside of the Ramsey years and Bortles, whatever. You want them to kind of get it together. I like Trevor Lawrence, but if I'm a betting man, I go with the Giants all day. And I guess, there's some OBJ talk about him going to the Giants as well. Daniel Jones has looked the best he's ever looked in his career. And it's because he's playing a role that really suits him. They're not asking him to be a franchise quarterback. They're just asking him to be a game manager. And at the end of the day, that's what he is. So you feed that run game, play good defense, win in the trenches. And, we're talking about a Giants team that can win 9 games this year.
Yeah. What you think, Twan?
We talked about the same thing with the Jets. I mean, the Giants are winning very similarly. I mean, they're not asking Daniel Jones to win games for them. Saquon is looking like a Pro Bowl type player. And then, I think the offensive line has gotten so much better. And then defense there, Kayvon Thibodeau's playing very well to start out the year 2 in his career. So you add all those things up. I mean, the Brian Daboll effect is real. So yeah, it would not surprise me if it's crazy to think of the NFC East used to be like the butt of jokes. A lot of people thought, oh, well, this division is not so weak. It's not this, but 3 teams could possibly make the playoffs out of that division. I mean, especially with the Giants, I think they could win, 9 games, maybe 10, depending on they don't have it. Look at their schedule. I mean, they're definitely. I mean, you got to play Washington still down the road. You got another game against Dallas there. I mean, I know you have the Eagles there; they're playing really well. But this is a team that's really well coached, and they're doing the right things, doing all the things the right way under Dayball. So yeah, they're going to be in every single game the rest of the year, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I agree with what everybody said. Like last week we talked about it, and I said that with the Giants, I looked at their schedule and I'm like, look, now at the time they were 4-1. I'm like, I could see another 6 games on this schedule. Last week was one of them. So now I could easily I don't want to say easily because, like you mentioned, Daniel Jones is not that dude, but still, if Saquon is healthy, he's been banged up. I feel like every game we see him kind of go on the sideline for something. He's taken out and then comes back in and does the Superman thing where he's like, well, I'm strong and I can do it. But hopefully that doesn't wear on him. You know what I mean? But I feel like every game, or at least the last like 3-4 games, we've seen him go out with something and then come back in. I'm just, it's fun for me to root for Brian Daboll, though. He gives me a reason to root for an NFC team. Because I tell you what, these damn Cardinals ain't giving me nothing to root for. But wasted money on season 6, just wasted bread. They won, but wasted bread. How your defense is better at offense than your offense with a $230 million quarterback?
Coaching.
How, Sway?
Coaching.
Yeah.
Lack thereof, I should say. Lack of coaching.
He should be gone too, in my opinion. Gone.
I mean, what they're doing is not working. I mean, at some point, I know they brought Cliff in because Kyler was so used to running that offense date back to high school, but at a certain point, like, you have to say that this is not working. And then you need to install like a real big boy NFL offense, not a running gun, not a run and shoot, not like spread offense, a real NFL offense. And I think he'll do well there. Until then I think they're going to continue to struggle.
What do you think, Cyril? Because I'm over Kyler Murray and his offense and the coach, and I'm over all of it except DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, it looks bad. I mean, DeAndre really does make Kyler Murray look a lot better. I mean, DeAndre on Thursday night? What do you have, like 10, 11 receptions or something like that? Over 100 yards. Yeah, he makes Kyler look like a decent quarterback, but there's no rhythm in that offense. And when you look at what happened with the altercation between him and Cliff, I think there's so much to unpack there. We just got to see what kind of boiled over. But the thing that was interesting to me, that there was no reaction from Cliff. He was just looking like deer in headlights. And I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I get Kyler as the prize quarterback there, but I'm gonna let you know, like, you haven't earned the right to just tell me to calm down. That's how I feel. If I'm the coach, who are you? Like, you ain't done nothing. Like, so you sit your little butt down somewhere.
Well, to me, it's not even that. Like, yes, it is that, but to me, it's not even that. Like, whether you earned the right, you earned the contract before or not, I don't think he did. But regardless, you're not playing like that now. Like, you out here and you are cheeks, my dude. Like, you are buns, straight buns. And you're going to sit here and tell me to calm down and you're going to yell him. No, my guy, I tell you what. We'll bring McSorley or whatever homeboys in. We'll bring him in for a couple plays and let you see how it feels to get pulled and be embarrassed because you're playing like, you know what I mean? Like you and then you want to act like a toddler. We get it. You're 3'4", but you're acting like a toddler now. Let's come on, man. Get this. I'm sorry. I'm so pissed off. I'm so annoyed when it comes to Kyler Murray, man. Like, because he was out here talking big over the summer. I want this, I want this. And then like they put the clause in there for him to study more. And then he had this whole childish act about that. They took the clause out. And then now it looks like he's not studying. It looks like he's out there trying to play backyard football. And then you get DeAndre Hopkins back, and DeAndre Hopkins has to make phenomenal catches for a routine 5-yard reception. He's catching balls like this for 5 yards. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding? He really could have had like 180 yards yesterday, but he had to make these ridiculous one-handed, behind the back, under your leg catches. And it's like, who do you like? And you gonna yell at the coach? Come on, man.
He's very entitled. He's very entitled. Yeah, I've always said this about Kyler Murray, and then I will continue to say this. Like, I really think he wanted to play baseball. I think he was pressured to play football. And then he's not having fun right now. I mean, he wanted to go to the A's. He was drafted in the first round. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it takes a long time to make it in baseball. If you're a first round pick, he probably would have been up there like in a couple of years. But he's just not having fun out there. It seems like he has just other interests, like Call of Duty, whatever you want to call it, out there, and just not playing well.
refund us that doggone contract and go play baseball, my dude. I'm sure some team will pick you up now.
Well,
They'll be like, oh, it's Kyler Murray.
They still have his contractual right, so
yeah, he can start for them.
Well,
yeah, go
right
ahead.
now he could.
So come on, do that. Give us a refund out here in Arizona. Give us a refund, and then you go and play with them. Because damn it, what you're doing right now is not the move. It is not the move. And then all that inside. Okay, let's move on. Because I don't like. I really don't like the way this dude is making me feel. And it's not even my team. Like the Bills are my team. I'd have moved to Arizona, and I got season. Man.
But no, I feel you because you want to see Kyler do good, man. You want to see the dude.
Yeah.
You want to see the Cardinals, another battered franchise that you would love to see. Reach the pinnacle, reach the top. Yeah, and it's frustrating, man. It's so frustrating.
They might be the worst team in that division. Like that's saying something.
Might be.
Yeah, that's really saying something with Seattle in there.
You got Geno Smith outperforming you. You got Geno Smith outperforming you. And you got the nerve to tell your coach to calm the F down? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about let's talk about the Texans and your Raiders, man, because I think this is a huge game for. I know the Raiders are technically. I look at it like they're just out of it at this point. Like there's no way that they can kind of recover unless like there's a catastrophic. Like somebody has to really just have a horrible season from now on for them to win every game and then catch up and do something. I don't think it's that possible, but I think it's still a huge game for Carr, for his future. Like he has to perform well the rest of the season, or I feel like it might not be too much longer for him out there. I think really it's tough. Like how do you feel going? We can start with Twine on this because I know these are your boys. How do you feel about this going into this week?
Not good. Not good. I mean, consider the fact, they've only had one win to the season, and then they had a very early bye week. I mean, I know they had some injuries, Hunter Renfrow and things of that nature, but, this is not the time where you want to have a bye week. You want to have one, especially when you're playing bad. When you're playing, like for the Bills, like they've had injuries. So it's kind of like, okay, the bye comes at a pretty good time. For bad, struggling team, all you want to do is get back out there on the field and keep playing, especially after the Chiefs game, the way that ended. So, play a Texas team that, they play good defense there, especially under Lovie Smith. I know Davis Mills has been kind of, not what they expected this year, but, Derek Carr has to play better. Like Josh McDaniels has to coach better. Like they need to go back to what they did, I think, against Denver and also KC, where rely on that running game with Josh Jacobs, which I feel like he's been exceptional when they've allowed him to do that. I mean, you don't have to necessarily throw the ball like 40 times a game. If the running game is going well, then stick with that. And that's what I would do. That would be my identity if I'm the Raiders. Just run the ball. If you throw the ball when you have to. You got weapons with Waller, and then you got obviously Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams too as well. And then just play through that. But we're talking about a team that should be a lot better than what they are, than one of the biggest disappointments in the NFL, along with the Cardinals.
Especially when you're talking about, they signed Chandler Jones in the offseason. They traded for Devontae Adams. It's like they brought in a lot of big pieces that you would feel like, okay, they were good last year. They should be great this year. And it ain't translating. So, Sterles, what do you expect out? Because I'm expecting this week, I want to see, kind of to piggyback off of what Antoine said, the way they used Devontae Adams last week or 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs, and they were like throwing, they put it out there for him. He got some pass interference plays. He had a couple big receptions. Why is this not happening every week? I want to see them air it out like that to Adams. Like you got the best route runner / receiver in the league. What's happening?
Well, you notice they were very Devontae Adams heavy in the first half. And then it seems like during those games, they go away from it in the second half, right? So you had Devontae Adams working and you had Josh Jacobs eating. And I think it comes down to coaching. I think coaching really does matter. And I'm not to be a homer, but to bring up what it looked like for the Bills so many years ago when we would get some decent talent, we just never had the coaching to match that talent. And Josh McDaniels is, I'm sorry, but just like the old Denver Broncos coach, man, it ain't it. It's not it. Like, look at Dable. I mean, not to go back to Dable, but look at Robert Saleh. Look at Dable, man, what these guys are doing. And you look at the Raiders, and they had every opportunity to beat the Chiefs, and they didn't do it. I mean, when you look at that last play, you got two receivers on the same side of the field running crossers next to each other. They run into each other. Like, you can't – I know that's an execution thing, but if you have to be better situationally. And I think that's one of the calling cards of good coaching. Situationally, what are you able to do? Are you able to put your players in great positions when it matters most? Derek Carr has a 60 or 61% completion percentage. That's very low for him. He's usually a lot higher. And then again, keep going to Devontae Adams. I mean, Aaron Rodgers went to 2 MVPs back to back because he just kept throwing it to Devontae Adams. Keep throwing it to Devontae Adams no matter what. And it's better than what you're doing. And I don't know what's going on with Darren Waller. I mean, this was supposed to be a year where he's supposed to, put himself up there to get that next contract. And I don't know where he's at. So it's sad, man. The Raiders should be a lot better.
I just think that, they know they're trying to learn a new offense, but I would think, while you're doing that, if you have a really good head coach, you just say, tell me what you like and then what you did from the last offense and then kind of install that while you're still learning some of the nuances of the new offense. I feel like they're not necessarily doing that. They're not using the strengths that they had last year, and then it's really affecting them like offensively to the point where they look like an entirely different team than what they were last year.
Well, let's wrap it on up, man. Let's figure. It's so frustrating when you see all of this talent and you got all of these guys that you root for, whether for whatever reason, whether it be fantasy or whether you just like football and you see the talent and you enjoy it and you want them guys to do well. And Devontae Adams is one of those dudes, man. I want him to do well everywhere he goes. You know what I mean? And I like you mentioned Darren Waller, his story, the things that he struggled with. Similarly to me, when you're talking about like Jordan Poyer and stuff like that, you want guys who have those type of stories to win and do well. And then Josh Jacobs and all of it, man, you just want to see. And then you have a bum head coach who wasn't good the first time. So I don't understand why he got this opportunity a second time, but whatever. And then you look at guys like Leslie Frazier who can't get a job. Anyway, let's keep it. So this weekend of football is not going to be the most dynamic, but before we get out of here, I see Twan is rocking that Hornets hat. Do y'all have any comments at all about what we've seen out the NBA this week at all?
The Lakers are bad. Like they're really bad. Like they like, oh my God. Like Russell, like they literally, the fans were telling him to stop shooting like the other night. That's how bad it was.
Like literally, you could hear the entire arena gasp when he shot a 3-pointer.
Like, dude, stop shooting.
0 for 12, 2 points, 5 steals, 4 rebounds. I mean, it's like, and they asked him,
and he got 5 steals.
Yeah,
and then he said he was solid.
Yeah, he said he was. I'm like, what?
Had he said he was solid defensively, I would have been like, okay, yeah, you're right on that. But yeah, that was not a great performance.
You got LeBron James coming out saying that we're not built of shooters. Basically, like nobody on this team can really shoot the rock. I mean, it's not good, man. And I like the Lakers, dog.
They're my boys.
Yeah,
they're
it's sad right now.
Listen, the Buffalo Bills are saving my sports year. I'm gonna just you know what? No, my Yankees are still in it. You know what I mean? Like we got to figure this out. Like I don't know what's happening, but the Yankees need to quit playing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, they can't get the bats going.
And that's the crazy thing. Like they've been smacking throughout the year. You had Aaron Judge have this crazy season, this wonderful historic season, and you just can't get it going now. So we got to figure this out. But the Bills are absolutely saving my sports year. Like that's what's happening. So well, look, we're gonna get on out of here. I don't know if y'all have any last words or anything y'all want to say. Sterls, want to have your last words and let everybody know what you got coming up this weekend, where they can find your content or whatever you got.
Yeah, Afro Sterling on Twitter, Buffalo Rumblings here, man. It's a bye week, but I'm still doing the pregame show on Sunday morning.
I'm sure, like with the way they playing, you probably got like 15 articles about how they're the best team in the AFC East and they're gonna beat the Bills and all this stuff. Because you a hater like that, but go ahead.
No, that's not my MO anyway. You can follow my work at New York Daily News. Also follow me at Antoine Staley.
He said, "I'm a professional, bro. I don't do that."
He's a professional. The OG.
The OG professional. Yo, well, y'all know how to do it here. It's your boy, Jay Spencer King, and we representing that Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. Y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative, go Bills. Let's get on out of here.
Go Bills.